Your emails are piling up in the old inbox, so it's time to get back to work and answer a few of your emails. And first out of the box today is John, who writes from Fruta that he has a computer that's connected to a laptop via an Ethernet cable, but yet he has a wireless connection set up as well, and he's wondering how he can force the internet to be accessed through the Wi-Fi, but yet maintain the cable connection between it and the other computer. Well, my big question to you, John, is why do you have two different connections to the same computer? Why not just run your connection directly through the Wi-Fi so that you have the connection and the internet connected through the same connection? Lenny writes in and is wondering whether she can use Norton 360 as well as the AVG antivirus, and no, you cannot. I would recommend you take off the Norton 360 and use just the AVG antivirus, or just stay with the Norton 360. Some people like the Norton 360 because you get the online backup service with Norton. I would recommend doing away with that and use a better online service. One that I recommend is called Mozy at mozy.com. Chris writes that there's something wrong with his mouse, or he or she is wondering how to get the mouse to work properly, and more than likely, based on your description of the mouse problem, it's probably a dirty mouse pins underneath your mouse. I don't have any mice any longer that have the little ball at the bottom of them. Best thing to do is get yourself a cordless mouse. They don't cost much money. You can get one that's wired, or you can get one that's wireless, cordless, and that's going to work a lot better than the mice with the little ball in them, because eventually the ones with the balls in them get dirty, and if you don't know how to clean them, you're going to have the problems that you're having. Nyla is a longtime friend who uses a Palm Pilot. I think she actually has a Trio now, and she's wondering about a free conversion program for converting temperatures, length, weight, etc. for her Palm. Well, there's a great one out there actually called Converter 2.2. If you go to palmgear.com, search for Converter 2.2. That's one of the newer versions of that program, and there's a little screenshot. That's what it looks like, and the Converter 2.2 is exactly what you want, and it works quite well. Anne writes in and is wondering about zabasearch.com. She wondered if it had been shut down. She couldn't get to it. It is not shut down. I was able to get to it just now. I've not used that particular website, but her question brings to mind something that a lot of people need to keep in mind, is that if a particular site that you're used to going to is not running for some reason, or not able to get it on your screen, just try it again an hour or two later, even the next day. Sometimes the people that are operating the particular site might have server problems. There might be other issues for you getting into that particular website. If it doesn't come up after a couple of days, then probably that particular site could be gone forever. But in this case, it is not. It is still up and running. Carla manages her company website and wants to create a fave icon. That's that little icon up in the left-hand corner of Internet Explorer, the left-hand side of the address bar in Internet Explorer or Firefox or your browser. And she's wondering how can she do that. Well, probably one of the easiest ways that I've found, Carla, is to go to this website, genfaveicon.com. That's what that's called, is a fave icon. And if you go to that website, you can upload any image you want and have it create that little fave icon for you. Then you have to work with your particular web server to figure out where to put that. Usually it's in the root of your website, and then the browser will automatically pick that up for your fave icon. Sandy has a question about importing her address book from her old Windows 98 computer into her new computer, but she has it on a floppy disk, and her new computer does not have a floppy disk. You have a couple of options. One, bring it into a computer shop that might be able to transfer that from a floppy to a CD or a flash drive for you, or you could go out and buy a USB floppy disk if that is something you think you're going to need in the future, and be able to import that in on your new computer. Either way, you won't have to retype all of your hundreds of email addresses. Leo's asking the magic question a lot of people have asked me lately: is it safe to install Service Pack 3 yet for Windows XP? And my answer is always the same. It's a 50-50. The best thing you can do is go to your computer manufacturer's website, go to the support section, search for the model number of your particular laptop or computer, and then see if there's any special instructions, BIOS updates, video or sound card updates that are required prior to putting on the new Service Pack 3. In a lot of cases it works fine, but there are enough cases where it doesn't work fine. It behooves you to go ahead and do some of that research beforehand. Ray has lost the send button on his toolbar in Outlook Express, and I think he just lost the toolbar. So what you need to do, Ray, is pull up the View menu in Outlook Express and then go to Toolbars and make sure you have the appropriate toolbars checked, because for some reason you lost a particular toolbar that has a send button on it. So go ahead and just click View, Toolbars in both your Send, your new email window, and in the main window to make sure that you have the toolbars you want enabled. Raymond brings up an interesting email problem where he's starting to read in a particular email. He gets called away and has to do something else. When he closes the email, comes back to his computer, he can't find that same email again. More than likely what's going on in your case, Raymond, is you're using Outlook Express or Windows Mail and you're hiding already read mail. And the way you find that is by going to View, and under View, if you go to Current View, you're going to see that I have a little checkbox here next to Show All Messages. More than likely you have a checkbox here that says Hide Read Messages, and as you can see, any messages I've read are gone. What you'll need to do is go to View, Current View, and make sure Show All Messages is highlighted. GW has a unique problem here where he has a program that's monitoring the temperature of his motherboard. When it reaches a certain temperature, it shuts the computer off, and he's finding that when he's running an AVG scan, a complete scan, that it frequently reaches that temperature and then shuts his computer off. What I would check for is make sure you're cleaning out all your temporary files. If you have an inordinate amount of temporary files on your computer, it could be stressing and causing even more work for AVG. And anytime you do a scan of any type, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot of problems with heating, especially if you're monitoring at this particular low temperature. You may want to raise that temperature a little bit. Maybe just do it before you do the scan, and set the scan for a time where it only does it once a week rather than every single night, which is a little bit overkill. Mike has a situation where his removable disk drives have renamed themselves and somehow got different letter designations, and now he can't properly get to his SD card reader. And he's wondering, can he change that without having to do a system recovery? You may have to do the system recovery anyway if the SD card reader is not working, but you can change the drive letter designations by going to a tool in Windows XP and Windows Vista called Disk Management. And the fast way to get there is go to Start and then Run and type in diskmanagement.msc. And as you can see here, there's a few vowels missing, so type that in, hit Enter, and after you do that, you're going to end up with the disk management, which looks like this. And as you scroll down and look for your different disks, if you need a different letter designation, just right-click on it, click Change Drive Letter and Paths, and then you're able to bring this up and click Change again, and change to any available letter that you need to. Papa writes in, it's not my Papa, Papa writes in that he has removed his Yahoo Toolbar, and since he's done that, his computer's running much faster, his internet's running faster. Do you think the Yahoo Toolbar was the culprit? It's possible. Yahoo Toolbar, especially some of the newer ones, has an awful lot of tools on it that sometimes can provide almost too much activity in the background, and again, it depends on your computer. But if you have removed it and everything seems better, then I guess we have to blame Yahoo Toolbar. I'm going to finish this edition of Rick Answers His Email with this question from Greg. And Greg is asking that he has Mozilla Firefox as his browser, but he's using Windows 98. I'm not sure if he changed that or not. And he's reaching some messages on some websites that says he needs to download the QuickTime Player in order to hear some of the sounds on some greeting card websites. And it is very possible. Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, looks like he was using Netscape as well. They all have different versions of the plugins that are necessary to interact with media, sound and video on internet websites. So if you don't have the proper one for that particular site, you are going to have to download it. QuickTime does provide some functionality that some of the other tools don't. So if it's asking for QuickTime, you're going to have to install QuickTime. Thanks for writing, everyone. There's a lot more email in the inbox. I'll be doing another Rick Answers email very quickly, so stay tuned. If your question didn't get answered, it